Welcome to the NanoCap podcast. I'm your host, Will Chernlin, and I'm excited to have you join me on this journey through the world of NanoCap companies. For the past decade, I've talked to thousands of business owners across various industries. It's been an enlightening experience revealing the vast tapestries of entrepreneurship and innovation that thrives beneath the surface of mainstream media coverage. Each week, I will interview different leaders of NanoCap publicly traded companies to learn about their history, what they do now, and their future. As a reminder, none of this information is financial advice, and it is all for entertainment purposes only. Let's start this week's episode. Hi, everyone. In this week's podcast, I have the pleasure of speaking with Brenner Adams, the Chief Growth Officer of TruGolf, stock ticker TRUG. TruGolf is the designer and manufacturer of launch monitors and golf simulator solutions. Brenner, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Will, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So I love kind of just dipping into people's LinkedIn before they got to where they're at now. Can you tell me a bit about just your career until you got to TruGolf and kind of how it helped you set up for what you're doing at TruGolf now?
Sure. Maybe I'll start back at the beginning of my career as I got my MBA or was in the process of getting my MBA. I was running a little snowboard company, and we did dial-up internet for snowboarders who traveled all over the world. And at one point, we had more dial-up numbers in our catalog than AOL, right? It was just crazy. And before broadband, it was just everybody was dialing in. And anyhow, so as part of my master's program, I had someone on my team whose husband worked at Xbox, and they were making a snowboard game. So I went down and met with the team and ended up joining the team and being co-designer on an Xbox game. And my boss at the time was the founder of TruGolf, Chris Jones. They founded it back in 1982 and grew the company, made a bunch of different games, one of which was a golf game, then sold that golf game to Microsoft for PC, basically. And then that studio that had been building that game became kind of a launch title studio. So we made a launch title for the Xbox, a launch title for Xbox Live, and a launch title for Xbox 360. So that's kind of how I got to know the team. And then over the years, a lot of those people from Microsoft ended up back at TruGolf. As founder Chris Jones said, it's fun to play golf on your mouse and keyboard, but we really want to be swinging a club at a real ball into a real screen with beautiful visuals and real golf courses. So that was kind of the birth of simulators as we know it. And anyway, so that was my early introduction to the team. And then we kind of went our separate ways, and I did the entrepreneurial thing, was an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship for 5 years and helped raise capital, helped raise about $50 million for various companies, and was involved or mentored or coached or something like 700 pitches. So it's, seeing pitches and dealing with investor relations was something that's kind of critical there. And then transitioned from startup to scale up. Helped a couple of companies go from 2 million to 27 million a year and that kind of stuff, and building out infrastructure and how do you apply the principles from startup into scale up. And so that then turned into reaching back out or talking to Chris again and hearing what's up. He's like, I'm ready to grow this thing. Let's take TruGolf and go big. So we added a few critical initiatives, one of which was going public, which we completed through de-SPAC in January. The other one was launching a franchise program, which we announced earlier in June this year, and then rolling out new hardware and new software. So all those things have come together in kind of the strategic plan that is fueling or driving our growth forward. So that's kind of how my career kind of came together with the TruGolf team, and then pulled away from the TruGolf team, and then came back together to end up at the point where we are today.
Yeah, no, the beginning of your career sounds like my 13-year-old dream of the snowboarding, video game, Xbox. It's like, if at that age, if I even knew that job existed, I would have been doing so much better in school, trying to do everything I could to get in that position. So no, that's very cool. And so, yeah, you touched on it a little bit, but tell me a bit more just about the history of TruGolf and how it kind of came from the video gaming industry to the more physical world.
Okay. So really it was just, the team started making games for the Commodore 64. Actually, it originally started with Intellivision, if you go back that far, where they were playing on Intellivision saying, oh, man, this is going to become a whole industry someday, right? These digital entertainment, this is awesome. So that then turned into Commodore 64 and then PC 386, right? Early PC games. And anyways, so as they were able to make really the most successful sports game in all of PC gaming, really. I mean, Madden and others came through console, and then were on PC. But really, for PC, the killer sports app was golf. It was this golf game. So when they sold that to Microsoft, it was unique to be able to take those assets and transition those into ski resorts, if you will, for a snowboard game, which is what we worked on. But then really the founder was just like, man, we had magic going in golf. We love golf, right? The whole company loves golf, and console's still cool, but it's a controller, right? You went from mouse and keyboard to controller. It's still not true to the actual game of golf. And so they'd been tinkering for a couple of years and kind of had this little simulator concept, garage golf, if you will, playing on a PC and trying to hack the mouse and keyboard inputs to some kind of camera system to figure out where the ball really should have gone. And anyway, so they decided in earnest to take some of the cash that had been secured from that transaction of Microsoft and create the space, right? And really develop the ability to physically hit a golf ball and have that translate into a digital experience where it sends the golf ball all over the most beautiful golf courses in the world. So that's kind of how they made the transition. Hey, we've digitized the outcome of the swing of golf. Now let's digitize the actual swing, put those two together. And they, at the time, believed that the future of golf was indoors. And, for many years, 10 years, telling people, oh, someday there will be as many people playing indoors as there are outdoors. And in 2022, it happened, right? That was the tipping point where you have 30 million Americans out of the 40 million that golf. 10 to 12 of them won't golf indoors, right? They're exclusive green grass and kind of feel they don't want to golf indoors at all. But everybody else has said, this is not just virtual golf. This is golf. And I can get my data. I can look at my data. I can look at an image of my club head hitting the ball. I can study and improve so much faster indoors than I can outdoors, right? And so while we all still love outdoor golf, that's the penultimate experience. If you want to have a great day outdoors, you should probably precede that with 3 or 4 days indoors, right? So work on your game indoors, get really comfortable with all the clubs in your bag and the dispersion of your different clubs, and get really comfortable so that when you do get that rare occasion to get a tee time and you're out with friends, that you have a great time. You're not out dealing with the frustrations of golf, but you've kind of taken the edge off and you can really focus on the fun of the game. We like to say our mantra is golf easy, because you know what? Golf isn't. And so through simulation and indoor training tools, we can apply some of those easy metrics to golf and get you to log the hours you need to get out on the course and feel comfortable.
I'm from Minnesota originally, and I think it has some of the most golfers per capita of any of the states. But it also has some of the worst weather of any of the states. And so I'm very familiar with people half the year for sure. It's simulator time, and they're in simulator leagues and such. And so it's really taken over to the point where you tour around apartments nowadays. Any sort of semi-high-end apartment has a simulator somehow in it. And so it's really taken over, where you would never see a golf simulator in an apartment, whatever complex 10 years ago. And now it's kind of like table stakes. So as the company's growing, as you kind of are trying to map this previous golf game into the physical world, what's next? Is it the cameras? Is it writing software for the cameras that track the ball? What are some of the kind of problems that you got into as they developed it into like a full-fledged product they have now today?
So by what you mean when you say what's next, meaning what happened in 2001 and 2002 to kind of create the industry? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what happened to create the industry that took it to the next step, where someone hit the golf ball and goes, wow, okay, that felt good. It went the right distance. When was kind of that breakthrough where you're like, okay, we're really onto something?
Perfect. So that there were a couple of notable events. There were other people trying to track sports projectiles, baseball, tennis. Broadcast media was saying, how do we see where the hockey puck went, and how do we track where the tennis is, or the tennis ball is in tennis, right? So as radar and speed cameras and all those technologies were starting to come in traditional sports, that technology field was being developed, and it unlocked the ability to then either use radar or camera systems, or we were even using sonar at one point, military grade sonar, to try and triangulate. And so as the technology was developed, we were able to leverage some of those technology trends and adopt new technologies and bring them in and try different things. So we had, in early days, we had a company that was using radar. And so that they were focused on radar. And we said, look, you go do the radar and we'll make software for you. Okay, great. Then another company said, oh, we think it's all about infrared. So we're going to put infrared sensors in a circle around the screen, and the ball has to pass through these sensors. And, oh, okay, well, you guys do that. We'll make the software. And so while there were different technologies being explored by different partners, we just kept making the software. And then we started introducing our own hardware kind of passively. So TruGolf was the hardware brand and E6 was the software brand, so that we kind of had that brand bifurcation. And really, some of those other technology solutions didn't advance as fast as camera. So we were using camera and sonar and some camera and infrared and, kind of looking at different tech. And we just noticed that cameras were just, for the automotive space, just advancing faster than anything else, especially for near object monitoring for far object display, right? Because if you're looking at radar is amazing when you're at 100 feet, right? You can really get a lot from radar. But up close, when you're in a 10-foot enclosure indoors, optics tend to be the best, right? And so we kind of leaned into those advances in vehicle camera systems and found unique camera hardware and software solutions that we could then roll into our solutions. And just as those technological advances move forward, our advances move forward, and we got to where we are today, where we have high-speed, low-resolution cameras, high-resolution, lower-speed cameras, and we put those together with stereo optics and have these amazing high-quality images, not only for you to see what you did wrong. Most of us do wrong things in golf, right? There's 5% of us that are good golfers. The rest of us are trying to figure out how to get there. So if we can show you what you're doing wrong, you can learn faster. And kind of the old logic of takes 10,000 hours to really become proficient at something. We're trying to cut that down to 1,000 hours. And that's by eliminating the ambiguity of what you're doing wrong. If you know what you're doing wrong every time, you can improve much faster. Whereas if you're just guessing, you're experimenting, it'll take you 10,000 hours to figure out, right? But if you can see proof positive every time of your mistakes, rather than your buddy just guessing what you did wrong and telling you on something you don't even understand, then we can almost democratize the learning process and feed it to you faster. So anyway, those are some of the advances that have happened over the years that enable us to be where we are today, ushering in a whole new era of improving. So when we say golf easy, there's 3 pillars. We want to make it easy to play golf, right? 60 seconds to swing, reduce the amount of time that it takes to golf 9 holes or 18 holes, that pace of play, make it as fast as possible. But then the second big one is really improve. How do we improve? It's one thing to play, it's another to improve. About 70% of the people that log into our systems are in training. They're working on their driver, they're chipping, they're putting, every aspect of their game. And then they go out and play on golf courses from all over the world. So it's really unlocking their ability to improve in various environments. And it's not just your general swing. It's your swing on a course you're going to. A lot of people say, look, I'll go to one of a commercial facility locations, or we've just rolled out a franchise concept. I'll go sit in a bay twice a week for 90 days before I go to my vacation to insert famous golf course, right? And they've played it when it's windy. They've played it when it's raining. They've played it when it's fast and slow, and tried different clubs in their bag for the different holes and the different obstacles and the hazards that they're trying to work their game around, and really become familiar with their bag and their skill set on a specific course. And then they go play. It's as if you were raised there, right? So how do you log 1,000 hours on a golf course in the real world, right? That's almost impossible with tee times on the famous courses, but digitally you can do it, right? So that's kind of the pieces, long-winded answer, but that's kind of how the technology has gone from an idea, garage golf, to leveraging advancements in other technologies to right now we're enabling people to improve their golf game faster than ever.
No, it sounded like you were designing a product for like the Defense Department at first with a different sonar and LiDAR and everything like that. And so it's interesting that it went from that to the kind of car cameras. It reminds me of like hobby drone industry, where their big advancements was from just so many smartphones being out there, where batteries got small and cheap, cameras got cheap, gyroscopes got cheap. So it's kind of the same way where the trickle down from someone else spends crazy amount of money on R&D, and then you all get to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't from that. So that's very cool. And then you transitioning from that to, I just can imagine the amount of part of vacation is just the anticipation. And so getting to golf, getting excited about it and stuff like that, that's very, very fun. So, okay, let's actually get into TruGolf. What are like the actual product offerings right now between software, between franchise, between say like an at-home kit? What do you all offer today?
So we have, starting at the lower price point, we have a portable frame. And by frame, you need to consider that if you're hitting a golf ball at 300 miles an hour, you should probably be hitting into some type of an enclosure, right? You don't want an errant golf ball hitting glass or breaking your walls at home or something else. And so we have frames with our Apogee launch monitor that employ all of that technology I talked about, the stereoscopic camera systems and optical and some hardware AI modeling built into that hardware. That device sells for $9,000 without the software, but you need a frame around it to really be able to golf, right? So to turf to hit on and into a screen. And so they'll start with our Apogee device and software, everything all in at about $15,000 for a nice portable unit that you can throw up on your own using simple instructions. Takes about an hour or two to throw that thing up. And you'll typically mount our Apogee and a projector to your ceiling of wherever you're throwing up that device. Or that enclosure, all the way up to $50,000, steel frame, 15 feet wide, 20 feet deep, 10 feet tall, deep walls so that you don't have any golf balls flying off the side. Those are used in commercial facilities or in our franchise locations all the time. Very robust and durable, even up to $100,000 if you're doing a custom build out inside an old home theater and you're, like you said, in a high density housing unit. You want to swap out your weight room for a golf simulator. We can come in and without the steel structure, just put in ballistics grade foam to protect the walls and block out windows and block the light so that you can get the real golf experience. Drop in a custom screen, and there's a lot of custom work we can do to build out a custom space. So those are kind of the footprints and form factors and different range of price points, basically. And if you want 4K, you can get upgraded projectors and sound systems and all kinds of cool stuff to drive the immersive experience of the software, as the hardware is kind of the constant in gathering the information from your swing.
And then kind of simple question, but difficult question. How do you all handle putting?
Yeah. The simple answer is 20 years of trying to figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot more complicated answer, but really over time, working with different technologies to figure out how best to handle that. We've tried floors that move and auto tee things that pull your ball up and turf that maybe feels like sand. And I mean, we've tried all these different things. And what we found is it really comes down to, can you swing your putter straight? Can you hit that ball straight? And then you can adjust your body positioning for break or lie or, different variables. But really we focused in on just hitting on a regular flat turf. And we've got 3 or 4 different modes in the game for putting. So if you just want to hit it straight, and we manage the draw for you, that's fine. If you want to actually try and guess how far left you need to aim in order for that thing to break down in to hit the cup, that's up to you. But we give you a couple of different options to manage that. But at the end of the day, like I said, it really comes down to, can you swing that thing straight consistently? Can you keep the club face neutral? Right? You got an open club face, ball swinging out one side. You close the face as you come through, it's swinging to the other side. And so trying to eliminate those variables and get consistent with your swing is what's going to make the biggest impact once you golf putt indoor or putt outdoor.
So as you said, kind of the industry has just been growing and exploding. How do you all kind of stay on top of that? Is it making sure you have the best possible golf experience? Is it trying to, I've seen some that have like a tennis game also, and you like diversify with different sports. Where do you guys see like your major growth in the future?
Great question. There is substantial growth. We've seen huge growth in commercial facilities. People just get together with 10 or 15 buddies and they buy 4 of these and put them in a strip mall and charge all their other buddies $100 an hour to come play, right? And so there's unique little models like that. That's why we developed and rolled out a franchise program. If you don't want to reinvent the wheel, don't. We've been working with almost 100 commercial facilities all over the world. And so we've kind of got tricks of the trade we'd be happy to share with you. And so that's kind of one way to manage the growth is to empower more cities to have more opportunities, to have indoor golf experiences and have those curated indoor experiences, whether it's food and beverage or training or custom club fitting, to have those services available to complete your golf experience. That's really where the growth comes in. Now, what we found is early days, guy would call and say, I'm ridiculously addicted to golf. I probably spend too much money and time on golf, but I love it. Can you help me feed my addiction? I want to buy a simulator. And so we get them all set up, and he'd call back and say, I got a problem. My wife's not sure if that's the right allocation of capital, right? And so for years ago, we said, well, it's not just a space for dad, which has been kind of the case in the past. Was predominantly male-dominated sport, not the case anymore. We're grateful to see so many women come into golf and younger players picking up golf. And because they're comfortable with simulation and software, that they take to it much faster and they grow and develop into improving their golf game much faster. But anyway, early days, we said, well, let's give them something else to do in the same space. So we started developing what we call multi-sport arcade. These are arcade-style executions of or experiences around football, a passing game, a field goal kicking game, baseball, hitting a baseball, pitching a baseball, right? Having some fun carnival-esque style throwing a baseball game, right? You can throw it at a cow and knock the cow over, just fun stuff. Dodgeball with zombies for the kids, as well as kind of introducing new players into golf slowly. One of those is through foot golf. So you kick a soccer ball on a golf course, but you learn about the fairways, you learn about the greens, you kind of learn about errant hits. You kick the ball wrong and it goes into the trees. Well, now you got to clean it up and get it back onto the green. So as you understand the mechanics of a course by either kicking a soccer ball or even throwing a disc. So we've got frisbee golf as well. So we have arcade games for all kinds of people, but also introductory type of experiences to introduce people to golf, so that they're not just distractions away from golf, but it's kind of a feeder system into golf, if that makes sense. And those tools that we built originally just to try and add value to a somewhat expensive toy have turned into tools. And in fact, just recently we sold out of those things, and we're having to ramp up manufacturing because all of our franchise locations will have them. And we've had some people open up a golf facility and have 5 and put one arcade in it, and then they open up their second one and it's all arcade. And so we've been able to leverage the, I would say, hardcore golfer, the diehard golfer that's really trying to shave 2 to 5 strokes off their game, lean into them, because that's where the growth comes from, right? It's that organic growth of people who are passionate about a sport. Their social currency is their golf game, and we want to lean into those guys. They're sickos, and we've got plenty of golf sickos here, right? And we want to make sure that we have the amazing set of tools, whether it's bag mapping to manage every club in your bag, or it's club fitting, try out 5 different drivers and see which one is best for your physique or best for that course, and really give people the data as well as the training tools to improve their game. That's really what keeps us ahead of the growth curve. But then being able to leverage the tip of the spear and offer different products like the multi-sport arcade enable us to broaden that out and make golf more approachable, more welcoming, and introduce more people into golf through those ancillary experiences, and ultimately convert them into diehard sicko golfers at some point.
My sister's kids love playing dodgeball with the zombies. So that's for sure an easy one with the kids. And I know even with like going like to work outings at like a golf simulator type place, that it was the first time many people had swung a golf club for the first time. So it
Yep.
is, as you said, at 60 seconds, you're already introducing someone to this sport that is traditionally gatekeeped and such. So no, kudos to you all for growing the sport as a whole. So you mentioned data a little bit. What kind of like dashboard or what kind of data can a user get if they are, say, a sicko and they're saying, "Hey, I want to look at my data." Do you all have like an app they can look at? Can they go to a website? Is it just within the screen that's the small screen next to the projector screen? Or like how can someone like track their improvement over time?
All of the above. Now, the standalone app is still in development, probably won't be out this year. But what we're doing is gathering so much metadata every time you swing, not only, the numeric data, right? Like speed of your club, the angle of your club face, how open, closed, smash factor, ball spin. There's so many data points that we're gathering, but some of those just are foreign to even the sickos, right? And some of them aren't quite sure how open should my club face be based on my club path, right? Because you can do a flop shot, you're going to open your club face way up, but you're going to change the club path, and so there's all these different ways to swing in order to get the desired outcome. And so we're gathering all that metadata, and that gets stored in the E6 portal. So you can go back and look at all of your swings, or on site as you're playing. You can, even with our new hardware, just say, "Hey, Apogee." You can run it with your voice. "Hey, Apogee, analyzer." And it brings up an analyzer screen that shows you your last 10 or 15 shots. You can watch a video replay to see what your club face did. And we have overlays, graphical overlays that sit on top of your club and your ball to show you how that created gear effect and how that created the spin and all those outcomes that you see. Now we can help you work your way backwards and unearth what caused that outcome, right? So the analyzer screen can also show you where on the club you impacted the ball, right? Maybe you bladed it, which is hitting the ball with the very bottom of your golf club, and you didn't get under it with your pitching wedge, for example. And so you can see where on the club face you're striking the ball, and you can look at the visual data of multiple swings. So, for example, if you are comparing 5 different drivers, driver 1's in blue, driver 2's in white, driver 3's in yellow, and now you can see dispersion cone and see with that driver, look, I'm hitting at 250 yards, but man, one ball was 300 yards left, the other one was 300 yards right. Like, I have no accuracy with this club or this shaft, so that you can try different variations and see which one has a tighter dispersion cone, which will increase your confidence when you're trying to get around the sand trap or avoid the water, so that you're a little more comfortable with the different clubs, so you can go for the length that you're looking for without getting into trouble. So those are just some of the examples. And then unique to us, we've rolled out just recently a challenger mode or challenge mode that allows you to do different drills. So if you just want to do a chip and run, or you want to try putting with breaks, you want to try multiple breaks, you want to just work on different training experiences, we have these challenges, and there's gradients at which you complete the challenges. But also, before you do a challenge, if you're not quite sure what a chip and run is and how do I get that 40-yard chip to settle on the green and not roll off the back, we have some of the best pros in the world, like Joe Hallett, number 1 PGA Pro of the year last year in America, and then Martin Chuck. Seems like he's always top 10 PGA Pro. These guys have video tutorials built into the software that talk to you about a chip and run, talk to you about your kind of weight dispersion or your weight balance, and am I putting a little more shoulder into this, a little more hip, or a little less, and help you talk through the mechanics of a swing to help you improve your game. So by taking the analysis of what you've done, allowing you to incorporate it or view it in game, and then also after the game, go back on a web browser and just check out what you did and think through all your swings, and then go back to the simulator and work on specific areas. Then integrating the challenges into that really helps push that to the next level. And really, as we incorporate additional partnerships, for example, with Golf Blueprint, they're the algorithm basically behind some of the best golfers in the world, Pro Tour golfers. And so using their algorithms to suggest different training modules for you, so you don't just have to go play our 200 challenges and hope you improve, but watching your game and suggesting which next challenge will help you take those 2 strokes off the back that you're trying to get. Those are some of the things that we're leveraging the amazing advances in hardware to couple with advances in our software and data sciences to be able to help you improve your game faster.
So as we kind of finish up here and wrap up, easy question for you. What makes you excited about TruGolf? Where do you see the company in 5 to 10 years? What gets you out of bed each morning?
Well, my job is growth, right? And so what gets me excited is the growth potential. We've just barely tapped the international markets. We've rolled out all new hardware just barely 12 months ago with Apogee, and the momentum that's behind Apogee is fantastic. And then just today we announced a new product actually called the Launch Box, which is a floor-based launch monitor. Retails with our software for $3,500, and you can take that out on the driving range with you and hit on a hitting mat and collect all that same data outdoors as you would indoors. That also allows us to kind of enter the sub $10,000 market, if you will, with a $3,500 device, launch monitor, and a $7,000 frame and turf, right? Now we're allowing more people to enter the game of golf indoors, and because it's not mounted to your ceiling, you can use it in so many different applications. You don't even need a screen. You can hit into a net, and our software could be running on an iPad, right? So now there's all different kinds of variations that allow more golfers to work on their golf game all over the place. And really our vision here is based on growing the game of golf. And as I think about my kids, I got them into different sports. Wish I'd gotten them into golf earlier. My daughter's just starting to get into golf. And as I see the principles that golf embodies from integrity, hard work, discipline, overcoming frustration, it's a mental game, right? It really hones your mental skill to be able to focus and requires a lot of mental horsepower to really maintain a stable emotional plane as you golf throughout the entire 18 holes, as many of us get frustrated, right? And so some of those skills that I think that's what really excites me, that if we can provide the ability to work on these human skills through the game of golf, I think we can raise the bar across the board and how we treat each other and how we work through life. And so it's those types of things that apply the rigor of golf to the rest of humanity. I think will enable, is kind of what excites me, right? Get some of these things out to more people and try to go from 40 million golfers in America to 70 million golfers in America. That's just really our vision. And the only way we do that is by making golf more approachable on more devices and easier to play, improve, and enjoy.
No, everyone could use a little bit more focus in their lives, a little bit more outside time, a few more steps. I'm 100% with you. So thank you so much for joining the NanoCap podcast. For the listeners who want to hear more about what you're doing at TruGolf, maybe buy a system, where's the best place for them to go?
TruGolf.com, TRUGOLF. We dropped the E. So go to TruGolf.com, and all of our simulators are there. Our frames are there. One-stop shop. You can buy everything you need from us. There's a web form or a phone number or a chat. You can chat with our sales team, and they can help you determine exactly what fits your budget, what fits your home, what fits your environment, and get you improving your game faster so that every time you step outdoors on the real grass, you're having a better experience.
Yep. And lastly, the stock ticker again is TRUG. Thanks again, Brenner. For those still listening, please remember to subscribe and leave a review.
Come on, guys, subscribe to this. Will, thanks for your time. Appreciate all you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good one.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not provide financial, legal, or any other advice. The information is not investment advice or any offer to buy or sell any securities or to make any investment. The views expressed by the guests are their own, and any reference to third-party products, services, or information does not constitute an endorsement, therefore, by NanoCap Podcast or its affiliates. The NanoCap Podcast express disclaimer